She watched the ridge through her scope, motionless for hours, fingers tight around the frozen barrel. Snow piled against her back, disguising her shape. The Empire didn't know she was here. Not yet. They'd sent in a purge unit for sector cleansing. But this wasn't a sector. It was a trap, and she was its trigger. The first helmet peeked over the ridge. Light blue armor shimmered in the mist. Standard infantry, nothing special. She fired. The helmet caved inward, the soldier dropped before his partner noticed. The second moved to signal. She fired again. The signal died in his throat. Two more surged forward in synchronized movement. Smart. She clipped one in the thigh and finished him before he screamed. The fourth panicked, retreated, fired blindly. He caught a shot to the eye socket. 4 eliminations. She exhaled through her scarf, eyes on the counter embedded in her visor. Numbers glowed quietly, 3403. The Empire thought she'd died back on Crydon 5. Let them. The dead don't get hunted. They become ghosts. And she was very good at being a ghost. A soft ping echoed in her neural uplink. Command. Not human command. The AI construct she'd co-written before the war turned. It fed her satellite visuals. Empire troop transport incoming. 2 kilometers west. 30 soldiers. Light artillery. Shielded suits. Recon formation. Clean sweep protocol. Her knuckles cracked. This wasn't a sweep. It was an execution. She moved. The climb up the ice ridge burned her thighs, but she moved like shadow. Her rifle clicked into her spine magnetically. She drew the pulse dagger. Silent. Personal. Her breath fogged before vanishing against the blizzard. The convoy slowed near the ravine. Perfect. She descended through the wind, boots crunchless. The first soldier stood at the rear of the lead transport, muttering about cold. She slid the dagger across his throat and caught the body. 5. She dropped the corpse into the snowbank, backtracked, counted 12 patrolling the perimeter. She placed mines beneath 3 inches of powder. The blizzard would hide the metallic scent. One guard turned toward her position, dead before he gasped. She made it look like the wind took him. The convoy commander barked orders to tighten formation. She smiled. The first mine detonated, vaporizing 3 troops mid-stride. The others scrambled, wrong move. She picked off 2 while they crouched for cover, and hit a 6th as he broke from formation. 11. Lasers tore through snow where she'd been seconds before. She ducked behind a boulder, adjusted her rifle to pierce-enhanced mode, and fired through the transport's window. The pilot slumped, blood misting the cockpit. 12. Someone screamed for backup. She jammed their comms. Let them yell into the void. They switched to thermal scan. She dropped a decoy flare, then looped wide behind the ridge, crawling on her belly. Her camouflage fabric hissed faintly against frost. They would expect sniper fire from above. She stood up inside their formation. She dropped the nearest 3 with throat shots, used one as a human shield against a panicked burst, then hurled a frag into the med unit. It popped with a roar. Screams. Her rifle snapped back into her hands. 17. They broke rank. Mistake. She was fire and fog, and every bullet found bone. 21. The last soldier begged, disarmed, arms up. She stepped forward, scanned his face, saw the tattoo. Same unit that burned Colony Vega. She didn't hesitate. 22. She vanished into the storm again. The Empire would see the black box footage. See their squad erased. See no face. Back at the cave, she stripped the suit's heat locks and checked her pulse, steady. She didn't need rest. Not yet. The AI pinged her again. More signals inbound. Different squad. Heavier weapons. They were escalating. Good. She needed the practice. The next morning brought drones. Silent flyers with thermal nets and auto-targeting lasers. She watched one hover above the valley. She needed it intact. Intel mattered more than blood sometimes. She sprinted beneath it, launched a signal jammer, and leapt onto its lower wing. Her blade carved into the casing. She rewired its system through her wrist port, dumped its memory, and crashed it into the nearest cliffside. They'd track that. Let them. She needed them angry. At noon, they dropped sonic tanks, the kind that pulsed nerve frequencies and drove colonists mad. She bled from the ears but smiled anyway. She knew their signal rotations. She used the peaks in interference to cloak her movement. She climbed onto one tank's hull, melted its rear turret with thermite, and dropped a magnetic charge into its core. Boom. The snow crater was 3 meters deep. She lay in it briefly, catching her breath, heart thudding. 28. The sonic drones adjusted, found her position. She ran. 300 meters of open field. No cover. Pure trust in movement. Lasers flashed past her thighs. One singed her hip. She didn't break stride. She hit the far ridge, dove into a burrowed foxhole, and returned fire. 3 drones fell from the sky. 31. She rolled over, injected pain suppressant, and stitched the wound in silence. Her breath fogged against the cave wall that night. She checked the counter again. 3,434. They still didn't know her name. The next day, she changed sectors. Empire patrols had tripled. Civilians were being rounded up for questioning. That meant she'd done her job right. Chaos buys time. Time saves colonies. She entered a sub-zero valley near the Arcus Fault. Rumors of a hidden relay post used by the Empire's Black Ops teams. Her AI confirmed it. Triple encrypted burst. Location triangulated. She had 12 hours. She used 10 of them to scout. Sentries. Turrets. Bioreaders on the gate. This wasn't a normal outpost. She crafted a heartbeat mimic from an old soldier's pacer chip. Tricked the biosensor. Slipped past the gate. Inside, she moved like breath through steel. She knifed 2 guards quietly. One dropped his keycard. She entered the core room and found files. Encrypted, yes. But she knew this protocol. She wrote it back when she was someone else. She took everything. On the way out, alarms blared. They'd found the bodies. She didn't run. She walked, slow and sure. Let the cameras see. At the exit, she dropped an EMP charge. The entire relay went dark. The storm outside swallowed her again. When the Empire's recovery team came, they found no traces. No body. No signal. Just a red slash across the last screen, a mark. Hers. Back at the mountain ridge, she uploaded the files to resistance channels. Empire asset lists, command center coordinates, target schedules. Enough to cripple their next 3 offensive. She leaned back, closed her eyes for a second. Her AI pinged again. Massive strike incoming. They were sending a full hunter company. Elite. Her hand hovered over her rifle. Her blood cooled. Let them come. She wasn't fighting to survive anymore. She was fighting to make sure they remembered what it cost to make her an enemy. And the cost was climbing. The counter glowed once more. 3440. She loaded the next clip. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when it underestimated the human sniper who wouldn't die. The kill squad dropped from orbit like hammers through fog. She tracked their entry pods streaking across the skyline. 17 confirmed. Imperial Phalanx hunters. No insignias, no serials, no prisoners. These weren't soldiers. They were executioners. Deployed only when the Empire wanted an example made. She moved before they landed, boots digging into the crusted snow, wind slashing her hood. A lesser fighter would run. She calculated. They'd sweep in trios. Triangulate terrain. Push her into a choke point. Predictable. The mistake they always made, treating her like prey. She circled west of the crater valley, catching the first squad before they completed their sweep. 3 silhouettes paused to recalibrate their scan systems. Her thermal decoys lit their HUDs like flares. She killed the leftmost with a poison blade, shot the second through his optical plate, then crushed the third's larynx with a silent jump strike. 3,443. She took their wristbands, learned their encryption frequency. The AI decrypted movement routes. She had 12 minutes before the next patrol intersected. She climbed higher. Altitude gave her sight. She saw a glint, a sniper lining his shot. She flattened just before the round skimmed the stone above her. Their overwatch was watching the watcher. Good. She waited. Wind shifted. The sniper adjusted. She counted his breath rhythm through scope tremor. On his exhale, she stood. Her shot tore through his forehead. 3,444. Movement below. A second hunter sprinted toward the fallen overwatch, shouting a code. She fired twice, first to distract, second to kill. He collapsed mid-step. The snow soaked black under him. 3,445. They knew now. She was watching. She was responding faster than they could regroup. They tried to pull back. She advanced. 2 flanking squads moved to intercept, thinking they had her bracketed. She baited them toward a thermal fissure. As they passed, she fired into the rock wall. Steam erupted. 1 staggered. She fired through the steam. 2 down. 1 fled. Mistake. She chased him on foot, rifle sheathed, blade drawn. He left deep tracks in the snow. She caught him by the neck and slammed him into a tree. His helmet cracked. His scream echoed. 3,448. She disabled the last patrol node, feeding false updates into the Empire's system. They now thought she was retreating northeast. She went south. Her AI mapped a cave system, a collapsed mining complex beneath the cliff. She could use it to flank the command module. The Empire had deployed a mobile ops center at the valley floor. Dozens of operators. Shielded. But not unreachable. She entered the tunnels, silent. Past bones of workers, crushed machinery, forgotten war signs. She planted charges at structural stress points. The map updated as she moved, pulse steady. An Empire relay trooper stumbled on her route. She knifed him in silence, caught his communicator, rerouted his ID. 3,449. Inside the network room, she linked the AI to their uplink. 10 seconds later, she knew their deployment zones. 10 more, she controlled their internal doors. They never heard the explosives trigger. The ground roared. Metal shrieked. Half the mobile center collapsed before they knew what hit them. She emerged in the smoke, rifle snapping with precision. 6 fell before the rest scattered. She dropped another 4 as they ran. 3,459. The last operator tried to set a distress beacon. She shot his hand, then his heart. Cold. 3,460. She retrieved intel modules, Empire warpath projections, names, civilian eradication target. She memorized the list. Her next missions chosen. They scrambled air support. Dropships with autocannons. She ran across the cliff face as the engines screamed above. Laser rounds scorched the stone beside her. She dove into a crevice as the ship turned. It hovered, scanning. She emerged on the other side, launched a grappling hook, and swung underneath. She planted a detonation charge on its fuel line and dropped. It exploded midair, raining debris down the mountainside. 3,461. She slept for 2 hours in the cave mouth, eyes half open, rifle across her chest. Her dreams were brief. Memory flashes of Vega burning, the orphaned colony screaming. She woke without emotion. The AI showed a new signal. A command carrier en route. High-ranking officer aboard. The Empire wasn't just angry now. They were afraid. Sending brass to verify the body count. She would give them more to count. The carrier landed at dusk, 3 kilometers north. She infiltrated the outpost perimeter using blind spots mapped via drone. The officer disembarked in gold-trimmed armor, surrounded by 12 guards. She killed 3 with a timed charge hidden beneath the snow. The rest opened fire. She dropped 2 more in the confusion, sprinted sideways, vanishing into fog. They closed ranks. She dragged 1 guard into the dark and slit his throat. Shot another in the neck as he turned. 3,467. Only the officer remained with 5 guards. He barked orders. Search wide, protect the comms. She slipped behind him. He sensed her. Too late. Her blade sank beneath his shoulder plate. He fell gurgling, disbelief in his dying eyes. 3,468. She didn't kill the remaining 5. She let them run. They would spread the message better than any corp. Back in her hide, she transmitted another intel packet to the resistance. Supply routes, black site locations, names of collaborators. The AI flickered. A message intercepted. A bounty had been placed, open tag. No capture request. Kill on site. Empire-wide. Her identifier, Phantom Sniper. She smiled. Let the galaxy know. They thought she was alone. They were right. That was the problem. Next morning, she received an alert. Civilians under threat in Sector 19. Empire preparing a purge. No units available to intervene. She changed direction. The settlement was already surrounded by Empire enforcers. She counted 30, including a mech unit and 2 flame squads. She moved through their ranks like vapor. First the flame squads. One ignited, torching a house. She shot the tank on his back. The fire consumed him and 3 nearby. She used the explosion to cross into the compound. Children hid in the cellar. She marked their location on her HUD. 2 enforcers moved toward them. She tackled one, crushed his throat, and impaled the second. 3,471. The mech turned. She sprinted toward it, fire licking at her heels. It fired, missed. She leapt onto its leg, climbed the chassis, jammed her blade into the optical housing. Sparks flew. She yanked the control module free and hurled a charge inside. The mech detonated. She emerged coughing, blood on her cheek. The rest tried to retreat. She didn't let them. 3,479. The civilians emerged slowly. No one spoke. She motioned to the North Pass. Supplies were cached. Weapons too. She handed the eldest a key. Said nothing. She was gone before they asked her name. That night she returned to the mountains. Another signal pinged. Empire communications spiking in 12 systems. Her image circulated among them. No name. Just kill count. She wasn't fighting a war anymore. She was the warning that came after. The counter read, 3481. And rising. The bounty reached its apex. 5 million credits, dead only. Empire channels went silent every time her call sign was mentioned. Worlds she'd never stepped on whispered her count like a prayer or a curse. She moved between them like wind through broken glass. Never seen. Never followed. Always one step ahead of every trap they laid. She knew the shift was coming when she intercepted a code-black operation stream, scrambled so deep even resistance cells couldn't trace it. But her AI did. The Empire had gathered all surviving Phalanx command units, merged them with cybernetic tacticians, and embedded predictive warfare routines based on her last 50 engagements. They called it Project Crucible. Not just a hunter anymore. Now, an algorithm designed to anticipate her moves before she made them. She didn't flinch. She infiltrated their testing facility on New Raxon by slicing through 3 sublayer access grids underwater. 27 guards, 2 sentry turrets, 1 autonomous plasma gate. She bypassed them all in 12 minutes. The Crucible core wasn't guarded. That was the trap. She knew it. Still, she walked in. Turrets activated. She dropped a flash spike grenade. Moved through the blind zone. Shot the first security AI core. Then detonated her second charge into the processor bank. Crucible went offline for 47 seconds. That's all she needed. She downloaded the entire prediction matrix. It wasn't about finding her. It was about replacing her. They'd built a machine to do what she did, on command, with no doubt, no fear, no rebellion. So she hunted its creators next. Commanders, developers, network hosts, logistics agents, anyone tied to Crucible's birth. She tracked them across 5 systems. The first she found choking on his own blood in a luxury dome. The second she shot through his reinforced office window before his coffee hit the desk. The third tried to run. She bled him out in a freight elevator. All within 3 days. 3,492. The rest fled to the core. Helios Prime. Empire capital on the outer ring. Untouchable, or so they believed. She began studying it, not its defenses but its patterns. Supply cycles, shift rotations, private security gaps between third and fourth night watt. Helios ran like a perfect machine. So she broke the one cog it couldn't live without, its silence. She leaked every kill she'd made to Helios networks. Not resistance hubs. Not outer colonies. She routed it directly to Imperial civilian media. Images, names, faces of the officers and agents she'd executed, accompanied by footage of Empire atrocities from the same operatives. The population boiled. Riots began within hours. Suppression squads failed. Crucible models deployed on the ground couldn't stop it. They weren't made for chaos. She was. By the time she landed outside Helios in an unmarked drone pod, the city was on lockdown, not from rebels, but from fear of her arrival. She moved under the ruins of the outer districts, through aquifers and half-melted rail lines. Her target, the Imperial Data Spire. A nerve center. It didn't just house information. It was information, every classified log, every death warrant, every black ops since the Empire's rise. She didn't want to destroy it. She wanted the galaxy to read it. A Crucible model waited at the entrance, Series 09. Her replica in all but flesh. Same strategies. Same reaction speeds. No soul. It spoke first. Stand down. She answered with a shot that grazed its chest. It lunged. She sidestepped, planted a blade into its servo joint. It countered. They moved like reflections, breaking, striking, resetting. It hesitated. She didn't. She used its hesitation to drop a magnetic spike into its chest housing. The feedback fried its internal governor. It jerked once, then froze, twitching. 3,493. Inside the tower, guards flooded the stairwells. She disabled the lift with a blast, climbed manually, silenced every level's security team as she rose. No kill was wasted. No bullet missed. The top floor housed the core admin. Director Varnus waited behind armored glass. He saw her, eyes wide with some combination of rage and disbelief. "You're just one woman." She shot through the console beside him. He flinched. That's when the nanospike took his retinal code from the screen's flicker. The security wall dropped. She walked in, gun lowered. He reached for a panic implant. She broke his wrist, pushed him into his own chair, and strapped his fingers to the login pad. She uploaded every file to the open net. Genocides, experimentation, civilian targeting, enslavement camps, clone programs, everything. In 8 minutes, Helios had no more secret. 3,494. She didn't kill Varnus. She dragged him out, unconscious, and left him in the street tied to a monument built from shattered resistance helmet. Civilians found him before the guards did. They didn't show mercy. She moved to the outer landing port. Crucible units scrambled everywhere. Now they were truly learning from her. Ambush placement, timed intercepts, adaptive patrols. But none of them could be her. She moved without doubt. She killed without pause. She tore through each line with the efficiency of history's executioner. The count ticked upward. 3503, 3508, 3,515. They collapsed before she reached the end. The Empire finally issued a code-red evacuation order for Helios Prime. It had never been done. The capital world abandoned by its own rulers. Civilians swarmed the ships. Officials begged. Resistance cells emerged from hiding, armed with everything she had fed them over the years. She didn't leave with them. She remained on the surface, watching the sky darken as thousands of Empire vessels pulled away from their own seat of power. They called in the final cleanse. The Empire's forbidden response. Planet wipe ordnance. Firestorm grid. No survivors. She waited. She watched. The first kinetic warheads dropped from orbit. But then, something the Empire didn't plan. A dozen resistance warcruisers decloaked from the far side of Helios's moon. Human-built. Each one black as obsidian, unmarked. She hadn't summoned them. They came because they'd heard. She was the reason they trained. The reason they fought. The reason they believed they could win. The resistance fleet opened fire before the Empire could arm the next wave. One warhead detonated midair. Another turned, redirected by jamming drones. Ships collided, fell out of orbit and rained onto the sea. She climbed the highest tower of the gutted city and raised her rifle toward the sky. It wasn't a signal. It was a statement. The Empire had built their perfect weapon. But they failed to understand that she had never been one of theirs. She was the myth they'd made real by trying to erase her. She descended into the crowd as civilians roared. Children ran behind her, soldiers saluted, elders wept without words. She said nothing. She didn't need to. Her count was no longer her legacy. It was the shadow the Empire could never escape. 3,519. And she was still moving. Because the galaxy didn't need a hero. It needed a consequence.